In this video, I'm going to show you all the methods you can use to hack into any website. I'll also be talking about all the tools you'll need to make it happen and how to implement everything you learned in a safe environment. So please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. So, you know how sometimes people's online accounts get hacked? Yeah, those accounts on websites like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and others? Well, they're a treasure chest for hackers, holding all sorts of stuff like passwords, IP addresses, emails, location data, and personal photos. Now, when there's a data breach, all that juicy info gets leaked to hackers. They usually get their hands on it through paid APIs or by trading on the dark web with bitcoins. And if you're not part of some hacker crew, you're probably just a good guy, right? But guess what? Hackers have other tricks up their sleeves. First up, there's brute forcing. It's basically when a hacker throws a bunch of passwords at a login page until one of them works. Kind of like a guessing game, but with higher stakes. They've got all sorts of tools for this, like Burp Suite and my personal fave, Hatch. Burp Suite snags the login request, checks out the credentials, then tweaks things around to try different passwords until it gets in. Meanwhile, Hatch, this cool Python tool, sets up a mock website and does the same thing, but with a more straightforward approach. Sure, it might take a bit longer, but it gets the job done for hacking into individual social media accounts. Although in the grand scheme of things, Burp Suite's the MVP here. It's got all the bells and whistles for more than just a simple brute force attack. Now, onto social engineering. It's like the art of persuasion on steroids. You've got to convince someone you're totally legit and get them to spill the beans. But let me tell you, it's not as easy as it sounds. It takes practice and some serious smooth-talking skills. Ever got a call from someone claiming to be from your bank or something asking for your credit card info? Yeah, that's classic social engineering right there. They sweet-talk you into giving up sensitive info, and bam, they've got access to your money or your privacy. Let's find some usernames and passwords directly in our browser. Head over to the ExploitDB website, dive into the Google Dork section, and you'll find a treasure trove of tricks submitted by hackers. Just pick the one that suits your fancy, copy-paste it into the search bar, and boom, you're off to the races. For instance, let's say you're on the hunt for misconfigured password and username files. You'd use a command like this. Here, we're basically telling Google to sniff out anything related to passwords, usernames, and at gmail.com addresses, specifically looking for Excel sheets where databases often hide. Here's the deal. Hackers figure out what programming language the website is written in, and then they sneak in a special code called a payload to hijack the server. This code often takes the form of a reverse shell script, which flips the script on the server and hands the hacker control over a command shell. It's game on for all sorts of mischief. Think data breaches, wiping out the server entirely, you name it. Now, before you can start eavesdropping on a reverse shell, you need the right tools. If you're on Linux, you'll want to have Netcat installed. But if you're rocking Windows, you'll need NCAT, which comes bundled with the Nmap suite. Once you're set up, you just fire up your terminal and type in something like, for Linux, type this, or type this for Windows. Now, when it comes to hacking, knowing your programming languages is key. The most common ones you'll encounter are Python, PHP, Java, Node.js, and Bash. But don't worry, they're not as scary as they sound. You can learn enough to wreak havoc with just a bit of practice. Here's an example. Let's say there's a vulnerability that lets you inject code into an image file. Sneaky, right? Well, if you can slip in some PHP code that triggers a reverse connection to a Unix system with bash root access, you've hit the jackpot. All it takes is executing that code from the website's database, and boom, you've got yourself a reverse connection. Now, to find the right spot to inject your code, you'll want to use tools like Burp Suite or OWASP Zap. They sniff out the website's get and post URLs, giving you the inside scoop on where to strike. And here's a pro tip. If you manage to find a bug that lets you upload a .php file or send some PHP code, you can use a fancy shell called Powney Shell. DDoS attack, or distributed denial of service attack. It's a digital storm that crashes down on your server, overwhelming it with a tsunami of packets and requests until it buckles under the pressure. Now, these hackers, they've got an arsenal of tools at their disposal, like the low-orbit ion cannon, ping of death, SYN flood, and HTTP flood. Let's break down a few of these attacks. First up, we've got the ICMP attack. It bombards the server with pings, except these pings are massive. Think of it like trying to drink from a fire hose. The server just can't keep up and it crashes. Then there's the SYN flood attack. It's like someone ringing your doorbell a million times, but running away before you can answer. It confuses the server, wasting all its resources just trying to figure out what's going on. Next, we've got the HTTP flood attack. This one's sneaky. It sends a bunch of legit-looking requests to the server, like it's just doing its job. But behind the scenes, It's like a swarm of locusts devouring everything in sight, leaving the server gasping for air. Now, imagine a turtle racing a hare, but instead of a race, it's an attack. That's slow Loris. It sends out a trickle of requests that slowly but surely overwhelm the server, like a poison creeping through its veins. So yeah, DDoS attacks are no joke. They can bring down even the biggest websites if they're not prepared. You can also use SQL injections. Here's a basic example of how it works. The website takes the user's input for the first and last names and plugs them into an SQL query. But instead of entering a normal name, a hacker could enter something like this, which basically tricks the SQL code into thinking it's a valid condition and spills out all the user info. Now, finding these vulnerabilities isn't easy. They're often buried deep within a website's code and require constant testing to uncover. But once a hacker finds one, they can wreak havoc. To carry out an attack like this, hackers often use tools like Burp Suite or OWASP Zap to poke around the website and find weak spots. And for injecting those sneaky payloads into the website, there's a whole arsenal of SQL injection scripts available, like the ones you can find on Payloadbox's GitHub. Or like the hacker's Swiss Army knife. They've got all sorts of tricks up their sleeves, from simple quotes and parentheses to more complex commands that can really mess with the SQL code. Cross-site request forgery is a sneaky trick played on a website. Here's how it works. Imagine you're logged into your bank account and you click on a link someone sends you. But what you don't realize is that the link contains a hidden request to change your password. Sneaky, right? That's CSRF in action. Here's how a hacker might pull it off. They use tools like Burp Suite to analyze the request your browser sends to the website. Then they craft a malicious request and trick you into clicking on it. When you do, bam! Your password's changed, and the hackers got access to your account. Now, let's talk about OWASP, the Open Web Application Security Project. If you're serious about web application security, OWASP is your go-to resource. Their OWASP Top 10 provides valuable insights into the most critical security risks facing web applications today, from access control issues to injection vulnerabilities. It's essential reading for anyone involved in web development or cybersecurity. When it comes to methodology, OWASP's Web Security Testing Guide, WSTG, is your roadmap to success. This comprehensive guide covers everything from initial reconnaissance to vulnerability assessment and beyond, providing practical advice and best practices every step of the way. For hands-on practice, platforms like TryHackMe, RootMe, and HackTheBox offer a fantastic opportunity to test your skills in a safe and supportive environment. Alternatively, you can host your own vulnerable web application using projects like OWASP Juice Shop. The idea is to explore the application, find vulnerabilities, and exploit them to solve challenges. It's like a safe environment where you can practice your hacking skills without causing any real harm. Plus, there are hints and explanations to help you along the way, making it a great learning tool for both beginners and experienced security professionals. So, if you're looking to sharpen your web security skills or just have some fun poking around in a virtual playground, OWASP Juice Shop is definitely worth checking out. And remember, web application penetration testing is a continuous process. There's always more to learn and explore. So stay curious and keep honing your skills. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Until next time, happy hacking!